Mark, this is the issue that says on the cover that has been much anticipated, and I think fairly accurately. So we've been waiting to find out what happened in this. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, number 21.
Sure thing, Dan. I just hope my recap is as anticipated as this issue is. We start on what I have to imagine is the typical morning in the life of Peter Parker. The sun is shining, birds are chirping, he's relaxing in bed until he realizes it's a work day and he needs to haul his rear to his good buddy Norman Osborn's. Totally typical, totally cool. Speaking of typical, we switch to Mary Jane getting her two children, Owen and Stephanie, ready for a day at the park. Cool. We got Owen's name, but I thought that the girl was Romy? Maybe Romita is her middle name? Who knows? Anyway, Owen decided he no longer likes the park, while Stephanie, Romy, other child, questions multiple times if clowns have ears. All the clowns have ears down here, Stephanie. Paul arrives at the scene to do pretty much nothing, typical dad, and MJ bemoans the fact that they are never leaving this house. Peter is walking to work and enjoying the sunshine, but cut away to Mary Jane and family, and it's starting to snow. What? Snow? This time of year? In this economy?
Only if it's LA, Mark, where we got snow a couple weeks ago. So, it sometimes snows in April, and it sometimes snows in Los Angeles.
That's pretty crazy, but maybe not as crazy as what's about to come next in this issue, because something doesn't seem right. And right on cue, there's a twister and a shadow within that twister, leading Paul to identify the shadow as him. The Scribble Man is back. Paul and MJ apparently have a drill for just this situation, and Paul takes the kids and MJ stares, jaw open. She then calls Peter, and indeed, quote unquote, he came back. Which brings us to 1 year earlier. Even though the recap page said a year and a half ago. Never mind, Mark. Just move on. Okay. Oh, so let's put our headsets on here, Dan. Remember a year ago, random groceries at the stores were either in short supply or cost 12 times as much as they usually do, and the bulk of Americans were ignoring the fact that we were in the midst of a raging pandemic. So much has changed in a year, Dan, and I imagine so much has changed in this year, right? Anyway.
Don't I know it, yes.
We flash to a jail cell to a character named Rabin. Rabin. Where have I heard that name before? I bet Dan knew exactly who Rabin was before a Marvel editorial told us, and he's going to have the full Dan-splain breakdown after the synopsis to prove it to me. Well, since I'm a little slower to tie those loose ends together from stories that are 15 years old, I'll just say Rabin seems like a pretty bad dude, having killed a bunch of people in his jail cell. He's also talking about someone called Kuhal Ajar, pronunciation not verified. And oh man, this sounds like some Secret Scrolls stuff, Dan. Rabin sacrifices someone else, and then we cut back to the very ending of Amazing Spider-Man number 884, when a mysterious figure shrouded in light appears in front of Peter and MJ, prompting Nick Lowe to ask us if we remember that happening. Well, now that you mention it for the first time in 35 issues, I sure do remember now. So yes, this man was Rabin, and he came looking to kill Peter so he could conduct more of his bloody math. I gotta admit, I'm still not connecting the dots here, but I just have to imagine Dan sitting at home reading this and just exploding from excitement over the deep cut pull going on here. Right, Dan?
Absolutely. Couldn't wait.
Okay. Just bursting with anticipation. Spidey and Rabin fight some more until he kicks him out of the building onto the street below, where he lands in an explosion of light. Spidey lays the smackdown some more until Rabin reveals himself. A double-page spread with some flashback images shows us this is the guy Spidey and Wolverine fought during the Brand New Day era when there was a blizzard in New York City. Thanks, Look Back Low. So it seems that Rabin is a little aggravated by the fact that the last time he appeared in a comic, Spider-Man cost him the opportunity to connect with his deity and become an emissary, and really, who can blame him? So Spidey has been marked for vengeance, and just to add another layer to the drama, we find out that another, aka Mary Jane Watson no longer Parker, has been marked for a sacrifice. MJ, after a brief costume change in the midst of a life-threatening battle, notices the marking on her wrist, and by touching it, it transports her and Peter somewhere, and that's where we end this issue of Amazing Spider-Man.